And we got something new this week. If you noticed, we got a new intro. We've had a couple of cost changes over the last year. And when Sean briefly joined us, we didn't even have an intro with his name. But since Jürgen is now a permanent member of the show, he's now in the intro as well. And we got a guest today down here, Susan, Lima Alpha Zero Charlie Yankee. Isn't that right, Susan?
That's correct.
Yeah. And we're going to hear more about how you got back into ham radio after, I think it's a 40-year lapse. Isn't that correct?
That's good.
So that's going to be exciting to hear. And I came over and first heard of you on the QSO Today podcast. And then I discovered that you had a YouTube channel where you actually put some ham radio content on as well. I've linked Susan's channel down in the description so you can find her channel there and subscribe and watch her videos. And you got a video coming up the next couple of days, don't you, Susan?
Yeah, I do. I finally got on DMR.
And that's going to be exciting to watch because getting on DMR and programming DMR radios can, well, sometimes be a process that kind of gets your blood pressure up a little bit.
You need an extra portion of aspirin, something to keep the headache at bay.
So we're going to hear about that. But first out is the ham radio moment of the week. And how about you start, Tobias, so Susan can see how we do the ham radio moment of the week?
Oh, yeah. I didn't have a lot of ham radio moments of the week. I just, that is the wrong video. Hang on a second.
Yeah, I am going to...
That's the right button.
Just on the right button.
That looks completely unspectacular. That is the TTY serial port console of the QMX from QRP Labs. And I managed to install the SSB software. And, well, I ran the calibration cycle. But as you can see, 20 meters looks odd.
What's the access on this device?
It's... IMD sync optimization, whatever that is, right? You have to read it up on Hans SSB beta software. And as you can see, 20 meter is a complete straight horizontal line, which is probably not good. 70 meter looks okay to me. There's
why
a
does it say 11 meters on top there if it's 17 meters?
This is, I don't know, if it sorted the pictures in the right order. I'm pretty sure I have all the pictures in the slideshow. Yep. But I think the high band QMX is doing 10, 11, 12, 15, 17, and 20. And that's why it also tries to calibrate 11 meters. So I'll probably not use it on 11 meter. So maybe I could, people have been repurposing the 11 meter slot and put just some other low pass filters in and made some Frankenstein transceiver where they have, 40, 20, 15, 12, 11, 10, or I don't know. You can go crazy with this machine. Okay, let me quickly skip through it. So 12 meter looks fine, 15 meters looks fine, 70 meter looks also fine. And then we are at 10 meter, which is also a complete horizontal line. Yeah, so I guess two interesting bands did not calibrate very well. And then there's another thing that you do, calibrate phase error versus digital analog converter. And there again, the 10 meter looks not good. The 11 meter probably also. I'm not sure if you are supposed to have yellow dots until the end. I don't know. That's probably not very interesting for everybody who doesn't have a QMX. I'm just what I'm basically saying is I installed the software, I ran through the calibration, I didn't make a successful QSO yet because with 5 watt and today and yesterday being contest weekend, that's not the best time to get an answer when you are running like a dodgy SSB signal. But in theory it works, and I'm sure I think Hans takes a well-deserved vacation at the moment. So when he's back from his well-deserved vacation, he will probably look at everything that people have reported in the group's IO chat and sort it out. So I've full confidence that it'll work.
I have several of these kits that I haven't built yet, but if you get this SSB thing to work properly, then I'm just gonna have to, because it is a very, very cool radio. And if
I think in our Discord, in the Discord in the DIY channel, I posted a short snippet where you can at least listen to audio. There was some OM calling in the contest, and I recorded a short snippet. So RX audio is very nice. That's what I think.
Yeah,
very cool.
That is really cool, and
that was much too long for a short ham radio moment. I apologize, as usual.
It is as it usually is, though. But yes, I am impressed on that little radio. And as Bob says, even though I've seen Bob's patience when it comes to soldering small things, yes, I would like to have one of these once SSB works properly. But since I don't do any more, it wouldn't help me at all.
Yeah, it does. The latest version does digital modes as well. So even though if you don't do CW, you can still use it for digital.
I think I did FT8 once. Took it out into the woods and did a bit of FT8 with it. So that was working.
Do you have it
before?
In case one or two of our viewers haven't seen one before, Tobias?
I can grab it. Give me a second. I'll show it. Cycle back to me.
We'll cycle back to you. Let's hear with you, Susan. What is your ham radio moment of the week? Is it getting DMR to work?
Yeah, I think so, because I've been working on that for roughly 2.5 months, and I made a video about it, and then I was going to have a what not to do video. But after 3 months of Googling and pounding my head against the wall, I think I know quite a bit about it, probably. So it does work. I've talked to the hams in Norway, and I've managed to QSY to the working chat rooms and things. So it does work. And if it works there, it'll work also on more exotic locations. But that's probably the main one.
Yeah. But that's not half bad. And getting DMR to work, as we discussed backstage before the show, it's not an easy task. So I'm looking forward to that video.
And even if you have done it, if you have not used it for, I don't know, a few weeks, and then you come back to it, you're wondering, hey, how did I set this up? How did it work?
Oh, definitely.
That was part of the problem with the video, because I forgot how I did it.
I think a lot of ham radio YouTubers they try to project that they know what they're doing, but at least when I make a video, quite often I will create the video as I do something for the first time. So
I mean, make it up while you go along is always the honest approach for YouTube videos, I think.
Yeah, I think so. My latest video is a good example of that. If you watch about halfway into my 23-minute video, you'll see that I can't get the app that corresponds to the radio to work properly because I hadn't tried it before. This was a first-time try, and guess what? It didn't work.
So, those are the best videos.
Yeah, because it's important as a YouTuber, I think, also to show when things don't work. And don't under-communicate that things can be tricky and badly designed and not easy to work with. Jürgen, what's your ham radio moment of the week?
By the way, that's the way I'm doing it. Normally, I do not look into a manual. I just go for it. I turn the radio on and play around with it.
What is that word you mentioned? What's that the word you mentioned there? The one that started with M?
Manual? What's that?
Yeah.
Isn't that a Mexican?
Something. It's like this old-fashioned print on paper. I think they call it manual. Anyway,
well, that's Echo Alpha 2 Delta Tango.
Yeah. Yesterday, I did another comparison between my new toy, the FTDX10, versus my FTDX 5000 in the contest. And to be honest, I cannot hear any difference. The FTDX 5000 is still Yeah, a good, very good rig, let's say. Yesterday afternoon, I was at my neighbor's place, Mike OE4MXB, and he picked up an old amplifier, but he sold it immediately to a newcomer. And so I took the opportunity yesterday and played with an 35-year-old solid state amplifier, the Yaesu FL7000. And of course, I did a short video about it. This is really a fantastic piece. So 35 years old, still running 600 watts without a problem. And today I did another comparison between this beauty here and my FTDX 10. I think Tobias knows this radio very well.
That
Yes.
is such a beautiful radio.
It is.
It's a TS50. It's not mine. It's Mike's. It's I just borrowed the radio from him. And yeah, so 2 videos on the way or in the pipeline, let's say. And I got another toy. As I mentioned before, we started the live stream. I got this 10-meter and 11-meter radio. Oops, for cheap, and it needs some work. It's dirty, a lot of gunk on it, so I have to clean it. And then I will make a video about it and do a Parks on the activation.
Nice. But those are all nice radios. We talked a little bit about that backstage as well. And I have been thinking about one of those 10, 11 meter radios, but I find it hard to defend the cost when 10 meters is going to be dead in a couple of years and then stay dead for, let's say, 4 or 5 years. So, but you got yours at a really good rate. So if I find one at that rate, I'm sure going to pick one up.
Yeah.
And Kjetil, you have a nice map behind you.
Yes, I was contesting this weekend. Lima Charlie 5 Lima for contesting. That's my contest call, and that was really fun. I've been doing a lot of contesting, but that's a few years back when I was active at the club station. So this is actually the first time in quite a few years where I've sat down for a while to do contesting. I didn't do much. I did, well, maybe 4 or 5 hours during the weekend in total, 230 QSOs. So not much of a rate, but I focused on getting a lot of interesting DX and prefixes, like the weird prefixes you don't see normally. So that was fun, and quite a few days I ran on multiple bands as well. But for example, Australia on SSB, that's not something I do frequently. I haven't done one this year, and last year I think I did one. And China, Kazakhstan, and quite a lot of other interesting places.
Yeah, getting VK any day is good. I've only got one. Yeah,
sorry, I was just wondering, do you think that is because it was contest weekend or because you were on the radio at an unusual time?
Contest weekend mostly. And some of these people, it's interesting, and a very interesting difference between some contesters and others. Some are interested in running weak calls. Others want 5.9s plus 600 or 60. Like if you're below that, you're not interesting. They don't want to run you. So for me, with 90 or 100 watts and not a very good antenna, it was hard to get through to some of these people. But with some patience and some good operators on the other side, it worked.
And I see that Christian's got a comment here. You were one of the guys blocking him from getting on the air all weekend.
No,
I don't think you were the worst one, though, yet.
No, I actually didn't call CQ once during that period. I didn't find a spot, to be fair. But I called CQ Pota on 40 meters earlier today during the contest. So it's fully possible if you want to. You just go there and pick a free frequency, and you get it.
Yep, it is possible, but it's not easy. I even got a video on how to do it, and it usually involves the work bands.
Yeah, I was lucky there, but if you have 100 watts, you can do it. If you have pure P rig, you can forget it.
Yep.
And also tried getting QSO with Charlotte quite a few times. Sadly, that didn't work, but still fun. And also finally delayed myself to buy a new roll of coax because I wasted the old one. So that's going to be fun. I found out that there was there's some Italian footballer, Messi or something, that makes coax, and that wasn't that much more expensive than other coax.
He's actually just selling it.
And-
He's got a partner that makes it.
That's baloney.
Or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I found out the price difference between generic coax and that was significant enough, like 40 euros for a 100-meter roll, but not that much. So hopefully that's going to be usable.
And if you're watching
the
Messi
funny
and
thing
Poloni-
is, in the grand scope of things, should you cheap out on cable? Yeah, I'm not saying that Messi and Poloni is the only good coax cable. There's also SSB Electronics or God knows what. But I mean, we are spending thousands on radios. We are spending money on antennas, and then you buy the most cheap crap RG58 from AliExpress. Yeah, I mean, what's wrong with us, right?
But
coax is expensive, Tobias. Haven't you noticed?
Yeah,
it is, but it's usually the stuff that stays with you. Yeah, you change your radios much more often than you change your coax, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, the previous roll, I bought a 100-meter roll, and that was in 2016. And I still have most.
Yeah, you deserved a new roll, Kjetil. It's fine.
Yes, I know.
Let's see, Bob. You did not contest this weekend.
No, I did not. And seeing how well Kjetil did, I'm kind of sad I didn't. I probably should have, but I've been to Oslo with the wife, and didn't work out. Tried to create a video. I don't think that worked out either because of reasons and the weather. But what I have been doing is playing with. Let's see if I can do this without it becoming transparent. Playing with this thing. And I know a lot of people have been playing with this thing, and I've been playing with this thing before, and it's frustrating. But once you sort of realign your head to work with the way that this radio is set up, it's actually a very nice radio. I've been doing APRS, connecting it to the iPhone using both the APRS.fi app and there's an app called Pocket Packet, I think it's called. That was recommended by, I can't remember his name, but the guy with the rather thick Southern accent.
KM4 ACK?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
He's been playing with that radio as well. I think he has about the same impression with it as I do. And also, I've been playing with WinLink on it, with the radio mail on the iPhone. And that was also frustrating to begin with, but I think I managed to get my head around how to make these units talk to each other. And so I did a WinLink both sending and receiving test today, but sadly the footage, the sound, and the weather was not good for creating a video. So I'll try and record something another day. But it's very cool radio, and of course I got it in red that this adds the additional 10 dBs. That makes it really much simpler to reach the WinLink gateways. That's pretty much all the radio I've had time for this week. Sadly.
And it's interesting to say that you struggle with WinLink and radio mail on that radio, because I connected the phone and the radio and everything just worked.
Radio mail on iPhone and that radio?
And that radio, yeah. I was prepared to have a struggle. It took me about 7 minutes and everything worked.
Yeah, to be honest, that's what it does now, and I'm not 100% convinced I know why. I'm just happy it does. So maybe it's a luck factor in there somewhere that you just have to do things in the right order or something, and then it works smoothly.
So for our listeners, can you maybe say what kind of radio it is, because they probably won't see the video?
Let's see. That it's called a VGC VRN76. It's called, and let's see if I can show it off again here. It's this. It's got the distinguishing feature of this radio. It's got a Bluetooth TNC in it, so you can use it for packet and APRS and WinLink via Bluetooth to Bluetooth enabled devices. And I think what does this cost, Morten? About 200 euros, something in that area?
Yeah, a little bit cheaper than that. I think
Yeah.
when I did my video on it, it was $168 from AliExpress, including shipping.
Yeah, so between
Got it for
150 and 200.
145 euros.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the only other HT that I know that can do that costs about 6 or 7 times as much. It's not as frustrating, but basically this seemed to be doing a good job when you actually figure out how it works. So I'm going to play with it some more and have fun with it.
It's a nice radio. The only problem I have with it is WinLink, because all our WinLink gateways on UHF are on Vara FM. So
doesn't help.
No chance.
But how about VHF? Do you have a packet on VHF?
No. The only packet gateways here, WinLink gateways here in my area, they are all on Vara FM.
And in my area, it's all on packet still on 2 meters. So
yeah, we have some around here on both packet and the Vara, and I think there's something called. It starts with a D. I can't remember what it's called. Where you can actually set up a WinLink station that will do both. Will detect somehow, and you can connect with both protocols. And I'll see if I dig into that at some point.
There's a WinLink gateway about 10 kilometers away from here. I talked to the SUSOP and I asked if he can set up a packet radio. And he said, yes, if you give me another radio, no problem. So maybe I will give them a radio and an old radio, and then I have WinLink on packet.
Could be a good thing. But anyway, that was my fairly short or limited ham radio moment of the week. How about you, Morten? What's your ham radio moment?
Well, first of all, I started out filming this Monday and thought I'd make a video about my ham radio moments of the week and release that. Of course, that didn't happen because I didn't remember to film in every ham radio moment of the week I had. So that video is not getting released. But as you can see behind me, there's a contest going on. What better time to try out a new antenna? Because probably sometime during early summer, one of my antenna masts, also known as a tree, will need to come down. And I needed a backup solution for 80, which was at least 4 meters shorter than my Windom antenna. So after a lot of back and forth and asked in the club meeting on Thursday, and we had a lot of drawings on the whiteboard and a lot of opinions, I ended up with a doublet. 2 times 17 meters and the length of window line that fit between the feed point of the antenna and the 4-to-1 balun on the wall, because I have no way of having a tuner out there at the moment. So I put a 4-to-1 balun and about 8 meters of coax in, which is not ideal, but man, this antenna is a performer. I'm just going to put up my map here from my first 108 QSOs with this antenna.
Do tell us how tall it is and whether it's completely vertical.
It is a flat topper. It's completely horizontal and not vertical.
Oh, of course, yep.
It's at the highest point. It's a bit of a slopey ground where it is, but the highest point above ground is about 17 meters, I think.
That's so nice.
And the lowest is, I'm guessing, about 12. But this is my first 107 QSOs with this antenna on sideband.
That's nice work. And yeah.
Yep. So I got to say that this antenna works. It's also, I've had some troubles the last year with noise on 20. And it's quieter on 20, but on top of that, it's got a better signal to noise ratio than any of my other wire antennas had. So not only is it quieter, but it's also louder on receive. It's quieter on noise and louder on receive. So anywhere from 80 to 15, this is a really good antenna. I can't get it to tune on 12, and on 10, it's just terrible. But from 80 through 15, it's a fantastic antenna. And it took me, since it's a non-resonant antenna, it took me about 2 hours to build.
How are you tuning it?
With a tuner in the shack.
Okay.
Which tuner?
The MFJ 998.
All right. This is a manual tuner, yeah?
Nope.
No, all right.
I do remote things with my radio, so nothing is manual here. It's one of these beasts. It's good for 1,500 watts according to MFJ, so I'm guessing it's good for about 200 watts. But it's good enough for me, to put it that way.
Very cool.
And next up is probably to get an external tuner and see how it'll work with that. I think that'll be even better, because the impedances are relatively high. I'm guessing at the feed point of the window line.
And in which direction is it mounted?
It
North
is
to south?
It is going. Let me think. It's going east to west, kind of. A little bit skewed from that, but relatively east to west.
Okay.
But it seems from my QSO map there, it seems to be relatively unidirectional.
What is the fourth one? Is that at the bottom end of the ladder line, or at the
bottom end of the ladder line?
If that's easily reachable, you could try and remove it and see if that helps tuning on the higher frequency. Because it might.
I've been thinking about doing a 1-to-1 instead, but since the impedances are so high at the end of the window line, I'm thinking getting those down a little bit probably helps a little bit.
Yeah, but the thing is, you get an antenna when you get multiple wavelengths, like you do on 10 meters and 12 meters. Things change. Then you need. I'm gonna say the wrong thing, but you either need more C's instead of more L's, or more L's instead of more C's in the tuning process. And what the 4-to-1 does, it offsets that point for you. So maybe removing your 4-to-1 would mean that you could tune the 10 meters and 12 meters.
But it's still not a good antenna though. It's noisy on 10 and 12.
Oh yeah.
It's about. I got a 10 dB higher noise floor on 12 and 10 than I do on my NFID half wave.
Okay.
So it's not a good antenna for those bands at the length I've cut it. And I see that Andy comments in the shack, in the chat, that he's run 900 watts through that tuner. So and that's actually something I'm considering now, because I've always said I won't buy an amplifier before I have a good antenna. Now I have a good antenna, so now it might be time to start thinking about getting some more power out there. Anyhow, 28 minutes and 32 seconds for the ham radio moment of the week segment. That's
You wanted to have a short peek at the QMX, so let me.
Yeah.
So 40 minutes for the ham radio moments. Okay.
No, that is it's such a beautiful little.
It is a beautiful little radio.
And it's pocketable. It's about the same size as a packet of cigarettes, if anyone remember these. But
I was gonna say exactly the same, but I guess that's an age marker, though.
Yeah.
Word of caution, though, you should have built a few kits before you tackle that one. I would strongly recommend you get the QMX Plus if you're a beginner, because that is much easier to build, much more space between all the low-pass filters. So save the QMX for your third or fourth or fifth kit build. Otherwise, you will just ruin it, and then you will be frustrated that you spent the money and it doesn't work.
Yep.
I mean, I'm not criticizing anything. I'm just saying it's a wonderful kit. It's very well made. The documentation is really awesome, but I would not do it as the very first radio you built. That's all I'm saying.
Either that, or have someone that knows kit building that you can ask to help you and end up building that radio.
I know someone that's good at kit building.
Anyhow, let's get on to the topic of the week. And we're so happy that you said yes to be on, Susan. And you do have a Norwegian call sign, but you're not originally from Norway. So how about you tell us a little bit about your ham story and how you got into the hobby?
Well, my parents were both hams, so really everybody we knew practically, at least adults, were amateurs. When I was a kid, we learned the alphabet by code, basically. You draw an A like this, and it's the da. Yeah. So we learned code as 4 or 5-year-olds, and my mother was really active. She got her license in 1941, and my father got his before that. They were both hams before they got married. So I grew up with ham radio, and when I was 15, I went and got my novice license, and I was fairly active for quite a few years. I know it's ship's mate, so I worked at sea a lot of the time, and I didn't usually drag the radio with me, but I did build a kilowatt linear amplifier on the boat once. And then in 1979, I decided to get my extra class. So I got that, and in 1980 they sold the boat, and the captain was Norwegian. He said, "Go to Norway." So I decided, well, why not? So I came to Norway, and I got the reciprocal call at that time, and so it's 45 years old, and I kept up. I hung around with hams all the time when I was I went 3 years to the mate school and sailed in between, and took the radio out with me sometimes too. It was an old Kenwood 520. It weighed about a ton, and when he picked up a new ship for 6 months, I was on it in Uddevalla. The hams in the club there helped me put up a dipole to the smokestack so I could use the radio there. And then by 1984, I got married, and I moved into an apartment house on a hillside with a repeater on the wrong side of the hill. So I couldn't get into the repeater, and I made a vertical and 10, 15, 20, and it blew off the roof, and I just sort of gave up for 40 years. I was raising my 3 kids, and then I decided last year, well, I'm still a ham, but I want to be a ham. So I took the course just because I didn't know anything anymore. Well, I did, but it was about 50 years out of date. And I did take the test here in Norway just for the fun of it. But they said, well, you have a legitimate license. I said, but I can't renew the American one anymore because I don't live there. From 2018, I couldn't renew my extra class license. And they said, well, it's legitimate, use it anyway. So I took the test, and I kept the old cloud sign I got it when I came to Norway, and started building a station. And I take one thing at a time. So you guys are talking about aspects of radio that I really don't know. I got a key. I was going to try FT8, but my tablet was really old. So now it's got QRZ on it. and that's got to wait. And I got a keyer, well, what they call a paddle now. It's not really, I couldn't find my bug after all these years. I have a really nice bug. And the code's still there, apparently. Once you learn it, it's there forever if you learn it as young as we did. But I'm scared of going on air with the CW, so I haven't worked too many people on CW. And then I use a little bit of the sideband here, but I don't have an ear for sideband. So I decided to try digital voice as the next project. And I went on Fusion, and that worked perfectly. That was really simple. I just got a Yaesu rig and transceiver, and it went right in. And I decided, well, why not try DMR? That was 2.5 months ago. And that was a nightmare. And I finally got that working this week. And so, of course, I've got 2 meters too, but the antenna is pointing straight away from the repeater. yesterday is actually, that's also an important point this week. I pointed it straight into the mountain, and it actually does better than when it's pointing away from the repeater. So I think I got rid of the noise problem there too.
Well, that's not good. That's good. And are you using a Yagi for 2 meters then?
I'm using I'm using a Yagi. I thought first I'd go pick up Christian Sand, which is 25 miles away. That didn't really work. So I started pointing in other directions. So I found out there's a rock by the football field that actually gave me a pretty good signal, at least until winter came and the neighbors started turning on their heat devices. And then suddenly it got very noisy. And I found out that the best place for the Yagi was to point straight out over the ocean, basically, towards some hills a long ways away, and then some of it went over the hill. But now I found out it goes even better if I put it up on the roof. It's only about 3 meters high, but it's pointing. Some of it must be going over the mountain because the noise is gone, and I'm getting a really good signal. So that's something you might try if you can't find something to bounce off. Try pointing it into your mountain.
Absolutely, and I think that's called knife's edge diffraction, isn't it? I somehow remember that from taking my license, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is. I like to visualize what's happening. If you visualize waves in the ocean, and you have a barrier, some sort of barrier in the ocean, it's not like you're not going to get a straight cut of waves when they meet up on that barrier in the water. They will sort of fold around, and radio waves works in
Same way.
a similar way, not the same way, but a similar way. So radio waves will actually move around over obstacles or around the obstacles. They will lose some of their oomph, but they will work. So yeah, absolutely. Very cool.
And we got a question in the chat here from Bonnet. He asked, what key are you using? Is that a Bengali on your desk?
Yeah, it is.
And that is very well spotted. I got to say that.
Yeah.
I talked to a guy that did CW, and he suggested it, and it does feel really nice. It sounds better than if I use a straight key. It sounds a lot better. I do get a few extra DAWs and bits, or too few once in a while yet, because I never really practiced sending. I mostly received when I was the last few months. I've been listening to YouTube to make sure I can get everything. I can read it in my head. My memory's not as good as it used to be. So when I'm through, I forget the call sign, That's kind of embarrassing.
But I think all of us forgets call signs. The first thing I properly do is to take a note of any call sign anywhere. Otherwise, I've forgotten it before I'm done with my pass.
Yeah.
I will when in a QSO, if I need to repeat the call sign back, I always look down at my log to read it back. I never remember the call sign of whoever I'm speaking to.
Yeah.
So,
That's comforting. Yeah. I tried, excuse me.
No, go ahead, Susan. Go ahead.
I did I put my recorder here on the table so I could pick up things afterwards. It's hooked into the same socket as my earphones, so I could pick that up. And I tried to download one of these CW programs, but it made too many mistakes. So I figure I can do better just trying to scribble.
But CW, at least for us that didn't grow up with the code, I find that hard. Even though I got an ear for languages, but learning CW might be a time issue though, because I don't really. I'm not going to say I don't have the time, but I don't take the time to learn it properly. And I think several of us in the cast have the same problem. We really want to do CW, but we're not just there yet. And then it's Kjetil who just went ahead and did it without knowing anything.
But I didn't want to, but I did it anyways, and just basically to try. And for me, CW has never. I learned Morse code with a flashlight in Scouts, so we sent lights. So we had a guy on a few weeks back that talked about never learning Morse code as visual. For me, I learned it as visual, and then I had to transmit that, change that over to sound. So interesting.
See, I have to say, I have probably a very different problem than you, Morten, because I have the time, I have taken the time, and I don't have any problem listening to CW and identifying one character. But then, unless I get a 5-second break to digest that character before the next one comes, I'm just going to decode one character and forget everything else. And if I do take the time to try and remember the character I just heard, then I'm going to miss half of the next one. It's awful, and I really, really, really want to be able to do this in my head, because I think it's so amazing the people that can do it. That's why I'm struggling with this. I've spent many hours on the CW Ninja, isn't it, on the YouTube channel?
Yep.
Fantastic.
Which is good.
Yeah.
Nice, good.
And I was listening to that at 30 words per minute, no problem at all, as long as there's one letter at a time. Once you string them together, I'm completely lost.
My trouble is that
I mean, I'm not the one to give advice here, because I'm equally terrible and I mislearned CW or forgot everything successfully. But if I remember in the ancient times when I learned it, I think training with 5 character groups really helped me at that time, because just having in your head the knowledge that after 5 characters you have a gap, that already calms you down a bit, and that also allows you to basically I don't know how if you just stick with it and do 5 groups, your brain will develop a FIFO somehow. You're listening to the current one, you're decoding the previous one, and you're writing down the previous one to that. But it's
they say you're not supposed to write it down either. You're just supposed to head copy. You're not supposed to write down.
I would not immediately go for head copy, but anyway, it's hard, and if you once knew it and forgot it, then it's doubly annoying that you forgot it.
But what bothers me is somebody sending RPRT for report or MNI for many. That didn't exist 60 years ago. And I lose 2 or 3 words saying, what was that? That's what stops me.
Yeah, but what do you find as the most different thing since you left ham radio in the 80s and you got back now?
Well, the least difference is 2 meters. That's the same. And we were starting with sideband back then, so we did have sideband, but I don't have an ear for it, and I probably won't ever have a good ear for it. So I'm working on the things that like I can understand and are familiar from the good old days, and these new things like we were talking about. I'm going to get into them probably eventually, but I take one thing at a time.
Yeah, and that seems to be a smart approach, though, because this is a hobby of 1,000 hobbies, and you can't really take in everything at the same time. And if you're in a room with a lot of hams, everyone's got their thing that they like doing, and you're probably the only one that likes doing what you're doing. At least that's my experience. It might just be me doing weird things in ham radio, but I see
everyone's doing weird things in ham radio. It's a given. But you say you don't have an ear for sideband, and I've been licensed for less than 3 years, so I'm not really in a great place to give advice, probably. But I didn't think I had an ear for sideband. I've told this story on here before, and I went on a Parks on the Air activation with Morten. Up until that point, I'd done DXCC. I did that in a month on FT8. I was doing FT8. That was ham radio for me. And I went on this Parks on the Air activation with Morten, and it just clicked. I got hooked. And since then, I've hardly ever done FT8 at all. I'm doing only sideband now. So it could be that it's just this threshold that you have to get past for it to be natural or good. I don't know. But at least that was for me. Up until that point, I really, really hated to try and listen to the radio and decoding what was said through all the static. After that date, and that was the fun bit of ham radio for me. So I'm very grateful to Morten for that thing, because it's opened up a lot of interesting new doors.
And that was probably one of the coolest activations I've done, because the sunspot cycle was not in the place where it is now. But I think we had back-to-back QSOs with North America for an hour on that activation.
Yeah, that was a really long after. I was so tired after that. I was not used to anything more fast-paced than FT8, and we had a pile up roughing for almost an hour in the park. That was amazing stuff. Yeah.
But I think this is, as you were pointing out as well, Bob, it's a matter of practice. And doing sideband, at least this weekend is a perfect example, with a contest going on where everyone's pretty much on top of each other. It takes some practice to be able to mentally filter out the different stations.
It's a good way to train the SSB filter between your shoulders.
Yeah. But
technically, a transceiver too.
But technically, there's been a huge change in like the equipment you get. Like I see you have a pretty modern radio behind you there. Do you buy everything new last year, or like new used or something, or do you have any of your old stuff still?
I had an old Kenwood 520 TS, I think it was called, and I couldn't even start it without a variac. I didn't dare turn it on. So I took it to the club, and basically I said, if you could make it work, it's yours. And I got new stuff.
Yeah. So did you find that easy to start with, all the new equipment, or is it nice and user-friendly?
We've got Google, but I have practiced a lot just reading the mail.
Yeah.
Kjetil, the lady just managed to set up DMR. You're really asking the question. If she manages that, she can set up anything.
No, it depends if she buys a Yaesu, yeah. Maybe
yeah,
not.
but we all see the Yaesu radio, so you have to go deep. As
DMR was Baofeng.
Yeah, but like if you the question was if you could do it, but like if it's harder or different, because there's so many functionalities you get now that I haven't seen in the old ones. Filtering, at least if you got the SDR fully software defined radio, so many nice options you get there. That are different.
Well, this transceiver has just about everything. It's got as much as I can learn anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm real happy with it. It's beautiful.
Yeah,
so,
I love
which radio is that? Is that a 101?
It's a 710.
710. Yep. That's not a bad radio. It's actually user friendly to be a Yaesu.
Yeah, and it's
and I've got a screen so I can see what it's doing too.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm still considering that one, but there's a FTDX 3000 here on the desk. So do I really need one?
Yes.
Need doesn't come into it twice. Need. Don't just
you should never use need in a ham radio discussion, Tobias.
But recently I heard somebody say, "What radio should I buy, and what radio do you want?" And he said, "All of them."
Yep, exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
There is, in fact, a formula for how many radios you need in ham radio, and that's the number you have.
N+1, right?
Yeah.
And N is the number of your current radios.
Yep.
Yeah.
I live by that rule.
Really like the seagull on top there as well. I'm sure that helped.
The neighbor moved and gave it to me. I like it too.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's nice with a bit of a personalized shack. Like it's a nice place you can sit and enjoy.
It's quiet anyway. Yeah.
And a shack should be a place to enjoy yourself, pretty much. But you started, or you've been working on ships your entire career, as far as I've understood, Susan. Did you do any radio on board the ships? Not ham radio, but ship radio.
Well, I took the CW test when I took for the third class because I was taking the extra class anyway, but I never used that. But shortly after I came to Norway, all the radio operators were replaced by the mates, and I was a ship's mate. So we got the radios.
Yeah.
All the communication and everything was our problem then.
Nice. There was a question earlier on if you were ever in the Navy or were you only in the Merchant Marine?
No, I was in the merchant. I started out at Scripps working as a marine technician. I found out pretty fast that the crew had more interesting jobs. So I worked there for a year, and then I found a ship at Duke University, and I was on there for 7 years on their ship, and worked my way up from an ordinary seaman to well, I went captain a couple of times.
Yeah. Well, that was probably not very common for a lady at your time to be offshore like that.
Only research ships had women on them, basically.
Yeah. Interesting. And we had a Sparky close to where I live. She's at the Scout Museum now, and she worked and traveled the world, same as you, but she was a Sparky all the time, like CV operator. And really interesting to hear those stories about like traveling around and so on. So, very different land life than us land rats.
I spent many, many years. In fact, I worked until about 5 years ago. I worked for Aegis. They come here, and we were working mostly on a dive ship. I was several years on a dive ship, and we went back and forth to the Gulf of Mexico and had divers down in pressure chambers and everything.
Oh, interesting.
So we sat on the bridge and looked at all their pictures and kept the ship where they wanted it with computers.
Yeah.
So what's your next TAM project, Susan, now that you've managed to get DMR up and running?
Probably FT8, but then I'm going to have to buy another tablet because this thing is probably 10 years old.
Yeah.
I might go back and try the CW again because I'm all set up for CW.
Yep.
Yeah.
Have you done any kind of like hunting, like summits on the air or parks on the air or contesting or something like that?
It seems a little cold. I did build a fox hunting antenna, but that was trying to find the noise on 2 meters. So I built one of those tape measure antennas and tried to find it, but it changes direction every 3 weeks. It changes direction, so I gave up on that.
Okay.
It's a good antenna. It works.
Yeah.
But I think what Settlement, have you done any hunting from home, trying to reach those parks on the air or summits on the air stations with CW?
No, I don't know how they work yet very much. I haven't gotten into that at all.
No, it's a good way to get training for simple exchanges, like amount or a lot of training, because you can run a lot of stations that way and talk to people. At least on SSB, you can talk to them. But it's a fun thing to do with work with.
Yeah, but my ATAS antenna is up on the roof, and I have to climb the ladder every time I want to do anything to it. So I can't just stick it on the car.
Yeah.
But what kind of antennas do you have at home? You mentioned the ATAS. I saw in one of your videos you had a wire antenna as well.
I did have an antenna 10 meters long, and it didn't work. It was only about 2.5 meters above the ground or something. It just didn't get out. So I took it down, and I have 3 widths basically on the roof. I've got a 10 meter and 15 meter and a 20 meter one, plus the ATAS up there.
Yeah. And but you said you live in a flat, so the same problems that others. We had a guest a few weeks back as well who also lives in an apartment building with the same issues, and I guess the same applies to me here. I can't have antennas here, and I'm on the ground floor, so it's even worse. Like I can't stick anything out the window.
We've got a definite problem.
Yeah.
You could always try a mag loop, though, Jeter.
I could. I'm too lazy.
I considered building one of them actually, but I haven't done it yet.
I really want to love mag loops, but I really can't. I've tried really hard. It seems like a fun antenna, but my issue is getting them tuned and actually the high Q factor of them. They're so narrow banded that they're pretty much only useful if you're going to stay on one frequency.
No, you just need the right controller and the right hardware.
You need an ATAS-like interface for your mag loop to get it.
Even better. That was really cool, Morten, the effect on that can.
Yeah. I got a can with a live waterfall on it.
Yeah, that's very cool. No. If you're going to do the mag loop, I have some ideas on how to do this, and I think if you do it right and interface it with the radio in the right way, I'm pretty sure a mag loop can be an easy antenna to use as well. We'll have to see. And maybe I'll give you one out of my construction, Morten.
Yeah, especially when you live in a city and you have a lot of noise from town, from the city, you are much better with a mag loop than with any other antenna. Like Alex in Vienna, OE1 Delta X-ray uniform with the baby magnetic loop. It's amazing what he can hear and what he can work with 100 watt.
Yeah, but that is not a cheap antenna, though.
No, it's fully automatic and not cheap. Yeah.
That's a €2,000 antenna, and we cheap out on coax. Maybe we shouldn't cheap out on antennas as well.
We should build them ourselves. If you build your own antenna, you can build an awful lot of stuff for €2,000.
You can, but can you build a mag loop that just works as well? Because mag loops are, at least to me, partly magic.
Radio is partly magic, but yeah, you can. I don't think it's the money that's going to stop you from doing that. It's the lack of either time or talent is going to be the problem for me, at least. But I'm crossing my fingers, hoping I can manage that. So yeah, on my list.
And Charlotte says that she will report back after playing with a mag loop for a while. And it just depends. I think it depends on what kind of mag loop you get as well. The only mag loop I've really tried is the AL705 from Alpha Antennas, and that is almost impossible to tune. Because you get a capacitive coupling once you touch the tuning knob, and then once you think you've found that place, which is about 1 millimeter from each end of top of 10 meters or bottom of 40 meters, you remove your hand and the resonant point is somewhere completely different.
It does make for really entertaining videos, though.
I got 2 mag loop videos out, and I don't plan to have any more. I think my mag loop is actually in Texas right now because we did a giveaway at some point with that. So
Have you checked if the OM is still on the air or has given up his call sign?
And I think when Walt gifted that mag loop to me, I think that was the happiest moment of his life.
Yeah, it's been going across the Atlantic. At least twice that we know of, that he might have gifted that back to, let's say, Denmark or something. That's,
Yes.
We're getting close to
maybe a better 2.8 is better.
Yeah. I don't think that antenna gets better with H. I just think it's an improperly designed antenna, pretty much. We're getting close to the hour mark. Thank you so much for being on, Susan. This has been a lot of fun hearing how it is to get back to ham radio and what's new and what's not new. So thank you for sharing that with us.
Thank you.
And and next week we'll be back with Ask Us Anything, I think it is. If anyone has that planning sheet up.
I think it is. And I have a potential guest that might push that into next week or the week after if he confirms. But if he does, then that's going to be a very cool guest as well. So
And you can do as usual on the Ask Us Anything show. Send us an email or just actually ask in the chat, and we'll try to answer with our opinions. And at least in the chat, yes, it went to Texas. Yes, it's a pain to tune. Better for FT8 or JSH.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, if you park yourself on the FT8 frequency, then you can probably work it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I tried to hunt POTA with it, and being bad agile and
Yeah.
having a terrible mag loop is not a particularly good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be back next week. Thank you so much for watching, and hope to see you down the bands and in our next stream. 7-3, guys.
Till next
7-3.
week.
Bye.
7-3.
7-3. Bye.
So